Dolphin is going to do Sarabash. He is going to use Bash's
a minute away from his PB with everything going on. Oh my god! Is that faster?
Is that faster? Big jerk sometimes. He doesn't want to play nice. Oh my good lord!
What a save!
Oh! He makes it! Wow.
Oh my god!
Hello, Speed Gaming fans, and welcome back to the Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition All Skills Tournament for 2019. We are in the round of 16, and we have a great match for you today between Elojimmini and Sparik. Joining me today is Grease for commentary. My name is Jay Halcyon. Grease, how you doing?
Thank you, Hal. I'm really excited to see this match. We have like two top runners with top times, with high chances of PB. So yeah, it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, and as you can see here on our bracket, both of these runners have made it through the round of 32, Elo defeating Loopy-Loo and Sparik defeating my co-commentator here, Grease. And the winner of this match will go up against the winner of Lurking Assassin versus Luster. We'll have that match for you here on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. We don't know which Speed Gaming channel just yet, so keep an eye out on the schedule.
So yeah, here Elo and Sparik are going to race each other to get to the quarterfinals and hopefully face either Lurking or Luster. So yeah, as we said, like Elo and Sparik are two top runners. Elo on the left side has a 28 flat, so guarding the gate of the 27. And on the right side, Sparik with almost a sub 29, sub 30, sorry. So hopefully we are gonna see them perform today, and hopefully get a PB.
Yeah, and we're gonna see some very different choices from both runners today. We've got a great selection of the various things you can do in this Ori speed run as options. Elojimmini going for the Crazy Juggle, Sparik going, of course, for Terror Break. Both of them running 5 HP, and they're even going to be doing something different as soon as Blackroot Bros, so that'll be exciting. But again, we're really hoping to see some PBs out of these folks because breaking those minute barriers is just so satisfying, and doing it a race is even better.
Yeah, as you can see, like on the right, Sparik got a PB 4 days ago, so both of them are really in shape today.
Yeah, and although the time comparison may seem like it's very bad for Sparik, like Elo would have an unconquerable advantage, Elo likes to go for a lot of risky strats, and Sparik tends to be one of our more consistent runners. So a couple of big mistakes from Elo could put Sparik in the running for this, and that would just be amazing to see. Not for Elo, of course.
So as usual, the race is starting. All they can do now is jump to get their first kill sign, and yeah, their first goal now is going to be set up their XP for a incoming trick, and then doing a few tricks on the way.
Yeah, and it might look like Sparik is just a little bit ahead here. Of course, any small leads in Sunken Glades area here don't really tend to affect the race much. There are places much later in the game where much larger time differences will be seen, especially in movement. So, and unless we see a large death from either of these players, first and second are pretty much fungible in this area of the game.
Yeah, although on the left side, he's running the game since a few years, so he has mastered his split. So we most likely see a really good split from him. and especially since he's doing at the 3 HP, so we'll see like a bit later that he's going to skip an ability cell that Sparik is going to grab because he's doing a different strat.
Yeah, Sparik getting trolled a little by that bounce pad, unfortunately. He's going to lose a little bit of ground on that. A couple of seconds, not a huge deal. Both runners, of course, setting up their health through this area to do a timed death, or a timed intentional death. Coming up here to save themselves just a little bit of time at this first keystone door.
Okay, that's interesting because like now Sparik is at 1 HP. He technically has to deboost through this slime, so he has to wait.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Sparik, with one of those big deaths that we were talking about earlier, had to kill that slime to get past because he had accidentally gone down to 1 HP and couldn't damage boost through it safely. Unfortunately, goes all the way back to the end of the Frankie fight. So, oh, and he's down at 1 again. So, take energy, Sparik.
Yeah, right now what he has to do is potentially calm down, if that's possible in that context. But yeah, he needs to calm down to go back on track. It's not over yet.
Yeah, now Elo on the left is coming down into that wall jump area. He's going to skip that little XP flower to gain just a couple seconds and then move his way over to the tree. As Sparik, oh no, goes back again.
Yeah, he tried to avoid the slime projectile and fell into the spikes. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, Elo showing us some really top-tier Glades movement, getting into that tree well before the 320 mark.
Okay, now Sparik is at 2 HP, he should be fine. That's what he wants. And at the same time, Elo gets his level up on the way up. Since he's not... Elo is not doing a strat that we call Genocide, he's going for a different strat, which consists in getting another skill called Quick Flame. He will most likely lose a bit of time over Sparik in the next area, but he'll save some time over the route a bit later.
Yeah, Sparik making it to that 4th health cell. He's going to have a little bit more safety than Elo will through the rest of the run as a result of having that. All the 3 damage sources in the game won't one-shot him, thankfully. But on our left, Elo coming up to our first cutscene skip. We'll be doing a save anywhere glitch, moving behind the menu into the cutscene, and then spending his first ability point to pick up Quick Flame. This isn't one we see a lot of runners do. It requires a trickier setup on the Frankie Walk after Blackroot Burrows, but it gives him the ability to do a few other sections of the game a little bit faster.
Yeah, when you take Quick Flame, you can save a few seconds here and there in the route, but it requires to perform what we call a magnetless Frankie Walk, because you don't have magnets, so you might be a bit familiar with Frankie Walk now. So basically it's betting on the ability to perform that trick, which might be a bit spooky, so if Elo gets it, it's a small relief for him.
Yeah, Sparik following up here has gotten his wall jump, picked up his 2nd energy cell, and is making his way back across Sunken Glades. Elo going for a reload here. This will reset the platforms in the room next to him and should save him just a few seconds.
Yeah, so usually if you go for the strat Sparik is going to go for, I think, you can basically save a whole platform cycle, and actually someone find a way to get that cycle without doing Genocide, but it requires some perfect movement, so Elo technically could have gone for it, but he decided not to and did the reload.
Yeah, Sparik taking a little bit of safety there, killing that slime. He was on 1 health, so didn't want to risk getting shot by it. Picking up that 15 XP orb to set himself up for this genocide site strategy. So he's going to skip that tricky jump up to the 100 XP orb that we saw Elo do, and in return he's going to kill as many of these slimes as he can quickly, working his way through Blackroot.
Okay, so that's interesting. On the left side, Elo is going for the strat called cutscene stack. Basically, it consists in stacking 2 cutscenes at the same time. It requires a blade movement right after the tree animation. So it might be a bit spooky, but it's safe sometimes. And for a runner of his caliber, he's probably going for it just to save all the seconds he can get.
Yeah, he gets through it just fine. The risk there is that when the tree animation finishes, it auto-saves, and if you fall down into the pit of Blackroot burrows, it will auto-save you down there, as unfortunately some of our runners have dealt with earlier in the tournament, and that can be a huge time loss. So now Ela going for his Frankie walk here, just kiting this Frankie over to the right, across these spikes, which for whatever reason don't kill him. And then he'll kill him at an appropriate time, get a second time level up, and be able to open a door. Sparik killing yet another slime on his way in. Ela, let's see if he gets this Magnetless. He does. Very nice. Making his way into Death Gauntlet. He'll be on 1 health. He can't save any of the spikes, any of the brambles, any of the enemies in here is instant death to him. But Elo's an old hand. He gets through it just fine.
Yeah, and he is now on a really good pace, I think, and I think he's really happy about getting out of Death Gauntlet. And he's about to probably go for a trick called God Cycle, which consists in getting a cycle of this Crusher early, yeah, without any problem.
Yep. Meanwhile, on the right, we see Sparik doing the little bit more traditional cutscene skip in Blackroot. He's not going to be doing any blind movement, so he just has to hold that save anywhere a little bit longer. And now we'll have Elo doing some more blind movement off of this double jump skill pickup. He's going to be moving back to the left and trying to get up onto the right or even the left wall coming out of this area. Yeah, that was excellent blind movement from Elo. Very nicely done.
Yeah, it's actually really hard to get on the left wall during the blind movement. Usually, most of people just get on the right wall during the blind movement. But when you're really used to that movement, you can even get to the left wall, and you save even more time.
And Elo making that grotto skip look easy. That's a very, very precise jump. Saves about a little over half a minute of going around and platforming on the left-hand side of grotto. So he's just going to be making his way up toward the Genso tree as Sparik enters the Death Gauntlet. So Sparik's going to be here on 2 HP, working his way through. He can take some damage. He still doesn't want to. He's going to go for this Death Glide and gets it. Very nice.
And he actually got the what we call the optimal Frankie walk, which basically saved a jump animation on the Frankie, so he got the Frankie walk like with 2 less jumps than Elo.
Yeah, now Sparik going for his grotto cycle. We'll see if he manages to get it. Very nicely done. So not losing any time to Elo on that regard.
Yeah, that's really good to see, because when you take a death that early in the run, it's really difficult to mentally come back and get back on track. So since his death, he's really doing really well.
And now Elo is going for the crazy juggle, so he gets to skip the ability cell that he just went under. Let's see if he can make this fast cycle on this block. I don't think he did. No, not quite. So
yeah, it's actually really difficult to get. You need to perfectly jump on the wall. And walls can be jerked sometimes.
Yeah, wall jumping in this game is surprisingly difficult. Sparik taking a little bit of a death. Coming out of his blind movement, he just kind of took a bite of the spikes here, but no big deal. Gets past it the second time, drops a safety save, and he'll start working his way toward Grotto Skip as Elo enters our most vertical dungeon, the Ginso Tree.
Yeah, and at the same time, Sparik is going for his Grotto Skip. Didn't get it first try. Yeah, this trick is really hard. As soon as you miss the first try, you get infinited. Yeah, but he got it third try, so it's fine. He didn't lose that much time.
Yeah, if you miss that first jump at it, you tend to make that log that you're jumping off of start swinging, and so it can throw off your spacing. But Sparik handling it like a pro. Elo there taking another intentional death to manipulate the cycle of that spitter at the top of the room to get a little bit faster way through here. We're going to see that a lot from Elo. All of these little tiny optimizations that just make the game slightly faster, sometimes even just by fractions of a second.
And that's where getting Quick Flame saves the most time, is when you fight this mini-boss, which is... this is the unique source of RNG in the game. But with that Quick Flame you can kill it a lot quicker. If you are spacing your shot good enough, you can get what we call the 3 cycle.
Yeah, Elo getting a 4 cycle there, which is still very respectable and still faster than what most non-quick flame runners will be doing on a 5 cycle, so still saving some time. And as Elo grabs Bash, we see Sparik doing some more wall jumping just to get up to this ability cell. He's going to need that to do his Terror Break later on. Elo got to skip it because Elo is going to be going for Crazy Juggle, which is a tricky set of inputs that we'll be seeing him do in Sorrow Path.
That's really interesting because Sparik on the right grabbed the ability cell, what we used to call the Terra cell, because usually if you get that cell, it means you're going for a trick called Terra Break later in the game, and there is actually a way to attempt what we call the Swarm God cycle. Usually only runners who go for the Seeger God route attempt it, so we tried to go for it. It was really, really close. He almost got it.
Yeah, Elo showing us some nice double bashing there, going for his second trip through this key dupe area. Got his duplication just fine, sets up his hyperspeed, and he'll fly into the second Ginso mini-boss. And for those of you who haven't watched our Ori and the Blind Forest live or All Skills tournament before, you may have been looking forward to Elojimmini doing the Ginso escape. Unfortunately, it's slower than just leaving, so we'll be leaving the water poison and working our way into Swamp in a different fashion. And that fashion is going to involve some careful manipulation of a frog enemy to break a couple of these floors that you're supposed to be able to break with Swamp. Elo here actually looks like he's a little bit short on his XP route. He was intending to take a timed level or a level up there on that 100 XP orb just after teleporting, but didn't end up leveling. So we'll see how that ends up affecting his run as we go on. On the right, Sparik making quick work of that mini-boss as Elo goes for the Swamp entry. Takes this shot, double bashes it a couple times, and gets it first try. Very nice.
Yeah, and Sparik almost collecting his bash. He's like 10 seconds away. He actually did really well since the beginning, since the tough beginning. It's still a decent time for bash. Probably you won't be happy with that time, but it's still correct. The race is still on.
Yeah, it's very easy to kind of go on tilt after a couple early deaths like that, and it's nice to see Sparik moving cleanly through the rest of this game. Seems like that maybe won't be affecting him through the rest of this race or the second race that we have later today. And Elo doing a little bit of an adaptation there, maybe? Oh no, he killed the mortar worm, so he has to reload.
So yeah,
he's
he wanted
this
to
100
use,
XP.
Yeah, that's interesting. He had to fix his XP rate because he was a bit short, but he got the level up like right next to the mortar worm. So usually you use the one of its shot to get up and leave swamp, but he killed it with the level up, so he had to reload and crouch, so the level up doesn't kill it.
Yeah, some excellent example of game knowledge and adaptation there. Knowing that you can crouch to pan the camera down, knowing that you can grab that 100 XP. Oh, a little bit of a death there from Elo. He had just saved though, so not a huge deal. Let's see how he does with his crow cutscene skip. And as expected, we don't see an angry bird yelling at us. So Elo is going to be doing another set of tricky double bashes here. He's going to use this projectile to skip actually ever touching the ground in this area, which is going to let him completely skip a cutscene that we'll see Sparik in a little bit do one of our more normal cutscene skips with Rekindle on. So that's going to save him about 2 seconds over not doing that.
Yeah, what we see on the replay was actually a few months ago just a strat that the TAS will do, but for some reason Elo decided to practice it and got it consistently. Now he's doing in PB attempts. It's actually really hard to pull off, and it only saves around 2 seconds if you perform it correctly.
Yeah, and speaking of things that are really hard to pull off, Sparik nailing his swamp entry, saving him many more than 2 seconds in the process. Let's see if he can maybe save some time over Elo going through here. Yeah, he decides not to go for the double bash strat, but since Elo had dropped his chain of double bashes there, he'll save a little bit of time going for that. Elo, wow, nice little frog manipulation there to, again, save just a second, maybe a little bit.
And now Elo is attempting his fast on place. So you bash a shot to aim the rocks above Kuro's head. You run away to unload the cliff that blocks the shot, and it let the shot passes through and break the rocks.
Sparik doing another frog manipulation there, using the same one to get that ability cell. Very nicely done. And we'll see how well Sparik does on his Kuro cutscene skip. He needs to bash this at a precise time to get teleported past the cutscene trigger. It looks like he didn't get it, decides to just watch the cutscene. It is a little bit faster to reload if you can be sure that you're going to get it the second time. But he decides to just take the little bit of time loss and move on.
Really clean the Sorrow Bash from Elo. Looked easy.
Yeah, now Elo's setting up for that crazy juggle that we mentioned earlier. He's going to charge dash up toward this frog that he's bashing upward and then cancel the charge dash with a stomp. And he has to do that within the first 3 frames or he'll hit the frog and kill it. He needs to take this all the way to the top so it can break another ceiling for him, which he does just fine.
Another save anywhere to collect the sandstone without watching the cutscene, which is usually more than 1 minute long, I think. So you definitely don't want to watch that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We've got a little bit of synchronized save anywhere going on at very different spots in the run, but to skip very long cutscenes in both cases.
Really clean solo for Elo so far. Collecting his jar jump. We'll now head to Misty.
Yeah, and of course Elo is in the part of the game here where any of these spikes will kill him in one hit. He's got 3 health. All of the spikes in Sorrow do 4 damage. So if he just takes a small bite out of them, just like that, he'll be sent back to wherever his last save was. And I don't expect to see Elo doing a lot of safety saves. He'll be using most of his energy for charge dashes to go fast. Going for almost getting that weave.
Yeah, I don't think he's on PB pace right now, but he probably knows that his pace is still really good. So yeah, I don't expect him to take any safety here.
Yeah, I would guess with the couple of deaths that Elo's taken, he's probably quite sure that he's not going to PB this round. But even so, he should still be very capable of pulling off a win. Elo, of course, not watching the restream, as he told us before the race. Sparik is watching, so he knows the score, he knows what's going on.
Yeah, and Sparik got his fast on place, now attempting Sorobash. Getting fast on place is probably a small relief already. Hopefully he can get his Sorobash as well. Yeah, saving the Sorobash with the double bash, that's really well played.
Yeah, it looked like he got a little bit farther away than he wanted, so he decided to charge dash back in to keep that going, and knew that he couldn't charge dash the bird again, so decided to go for a couple of double bashes to put it in place. Very nice adaptation from Sparik. Now, coming up on the left, we're going to see Elo do something a little bit curious there. There was a laser, and he just kind of went through it. Grease, can you tell me a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, he dashed through a laser like there was nothing. Basically, the hitbox of a laser is like a few frames large. So with the charges, you get a speed that it's enough to just ignore that hitbox. Like the frame rate of the game isn't enough to register or in the hitbox.
Elo having a little bit of trouble there on that mini boss, but manages to save it, not getting sent back to his last save, which may have been as far back as the climb tree. Sparik moving his way through to the Sunstone. He's already got charge jump, so he'll be headed out of Sorrow Pass as soon as he skips this cutscene. Got his Terror Break just fine. Yeah, and we've got an update from the truck here. Elo was still on, it looks like, a 28 or 29 pace, so still a very, very strong run from him. Even if it's not that 27 that he'd really like to get.
He's probably keeping the 27 for the third race.
Just barely sneaking through there. And Sparik showing us the name of Misty Woods in German there. Our runners do usually play with the UI turned off to suppress all of the text in the game, but Sparik's played this game for a long time. He knows that between Sunstone and just before and right about here, there's really no text boxes, so it's a good chance to be able to play with the UI up and not have to worry about definitely knowing what your health and energy are at all times. Just in your head.
Yeah, and at the same time, Elo showing us the cool grenade jumps to exit the Blackroot burrows.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Elo goes for any additional sort of swag grenade jumps on his way over to Mount Horu. Nicely charge dashing over that pesky ability cell that he left behind earlier. He doesn't want to pick it up and have Ori hold it up to show everyone for a couple of seconds. Yeah, that was a very nice grenade jump. Right to the door of Horu. So now Sparik, coming up on his Misty Mini-Boss, we'll see if he can manage a quick kill on it. As Elo goes for his door warp attempts. This is a one-frame trick. He needs to press up on the first frame that the game loads, and that will put him somewhere that the game doesn't think you should be yet. And he gets it. First try. Nice job, Elo.
Yeah, I think he spent some time in the menu because he got what we call the menu bug, where you just lose his focus of the game window and you have to alt tab and alt tab back in the game.
Yeah, now Elo going for something that was discovered fairly recently. This is warmth skip by doing some rapid inputs. You can start the warmth return cutscene, exit the game, load back in, and it'll still be playing, and you can just move during it. So all he has to do to deal with that is move through those first two rooms of the Horu escape blind, and without getting an energy and health refill. So, you know, it's a good speedrun trick. Saves you a handful of seconds, is super risky. Elo getting that final grenade jump just fine. GG Elo. He'll go to 1-0 in this match.
With again a really good time because I think it's a really low 29. I don't think it's a 28 yet, but I think it's a like 29.08. I think that's the average he got during the qualifiers. So yeah, again.
Yeah, 29.01. Very nice race from Elo. So, on the right, Sparik has picked up his grenade, is going to do a little bit of a charge jump out of the grenade area, work his way back over to Horu Fields. We'll see if he can get these laser cycles set up the way he wants. That one might be... that rocket jump might have been a little bit risky. Ooh, that's spooky. Sparik getting hung up on the wall there. Not quite getting through there, but able to move quickly enough to avoid that boulder. Thankfully, no deaths there. And Sparik...
Okay.
teleporting to the wrong teleporter there. And taking some time to type GG in our SRL race, so he has seen that Elo has finished. I believe he was watching the restream anyway, so Sparik knows that he's lost the race, but he's just going to close it out here, give us a show going through Horu Fields and Mount Horu, and he's even going to let us see those first two rooms of the escape, I believe.
Yeah, and he decided not to go for the 6th HP. Usually some runners decide to take an extra HP for some safety. But even if he knows he's not on PB pace or he knows he can't win, he's still going home, he's still going strong.
Yep, come on, let's see that first try door warp. And gets it, very nice. now Sparik's going to work his way through this fiery escape. All the spikes are spiky. Oop! And those rocks are very hot, and unfortunately, with taking any damage here, he won't have enough health to survive the final escape. So he goes ahead and just takes a death to quickly reset. Oh no, gets hit by the same rock again.
Okay, that's the first time I see this. He bonked on the falling rock twice. I didn't even know you could bonk it.
Yeah, those the first time you go through that room, the cycle is fairly fixed, but if you take a death, they aren't necessarily as predictable, so very unfortunate that that rock happened to be in the exact same spot. Making his way through that swim, barely makes it out, and now all he's got left between him and race number 2 is this last grenade jump. Gets on the wall, sets his angle, gets through just fine. GG, Sparik.
Yeah, GG. That was really impressive, the comeback.
And Sparik giving us a little bit of levity in the SRL chat as he's watching these cutscenes out. He might have forgotten how to do the non-blind escape. Sparik, one of our runners that has picked up the warmth skip in his PB attempts, but decided not to go for it here. And that may have caused him just a little bit of trouble just with remembering how the inputs need to be a little different. So, with this first race closing out, we will be taking a short break to set up the second race, and then we will be back with more of Elojimmini versus Sparik.
Welcome back, Ori lovers. We have still more Ori action for you today. We've just seen game 1 of Elojimmini against Sparik. Elo took the first game. Now we are going to watch the game number 2. I'm still Grease, and I'm still joined with Jay Halcyon.
Yeah, Grease, thanks. That first game was a little bit rough for both of our runners. Sparik taking a couple of deaths in sunken glades, winding up about 2 minutes behind where he'd like to be at the wall jump tree, but managing to pull it together and finish out the race very strongly. Elo taking a few shorter deaths here and there, but I'm sure he would like to have a lot of those back and would like to be a little bit faster this time.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate for Sparik, but it's probably not going to happen now. So I'm really hoping that Sparik can calm down and just do the thing.
Yeah, and our truck, thank you guys, pointing out to us that those deaths in glades cost Sparik about 2 minutes. But he managed to keep himself about 2 minutes behind his PB for the rest of the run. So very nice consistency out of him, which is something we've come to expect from a runner of his caliber. And our racers getting started here, getting their prologue skips just fine. Just like before, we'll see them hopping their way off to the left, getting that early game save. Or I won't try to pronounce that in German because I don't speak German.
Yeah, unfortunately I don't speak German either. But yeah, as usual, they're going to get their first energy cell, heading up to Sane. So, just small jumps. Actually, it's fun because you might think that jumping is simple and easy to optimize, but when you see the difference of split times in the early game comparing a top runner and someone slightly slower, the big difference usually happens in the early games where you don't have many skills.
Yeah, and optimizing that early game movement when you have just those few tools of running, jumping, and maybe wall jumping can take even minutes off of a run. And that's going to be your difference between someone who, like Elojimmini here, is a former world record holder in this category, and someone like Sparik, who, while very quick, is still on his way learning all of these little things, just keeping on refining. And Elo getting a little bit trolled by the bounce pad that time, allowing Sparik some time to catch up. Moving through, taking their intentional damage. Elo checking his health there. Sparik doing the same. Sparik looks like he got a health drop there, so that slime trying to troll him expertly dodges it. That's a lot harder than it looked.
Yeah, he had to dodge some XP as well, so since he's doing genocide, he will probably have to fix it somehow. So it will be interesting to see how he's going to get some extra XP.
Yeah, thankfully in Glades there are a lot of things that we usually don't take XP from, so he kind of has a buffet of options in front of him in terms of what to pick up to make up for that XP. And we might see him even check his XP as he comes over here toward this keystone. Yeah, he looks like he's a little bit lower than he'd really like to be coming through here. Probably about 7 or 8 away from leveling, and he'd like to be down closer to 6-ish.
Yeah, actually this Brumble is really useful because depending on how many XP you're missing, you can just adjust by killing more Brumbles. Those purple spore.
I like that adjustment from Sparik as he came down, managing to pick up, pausing just a moment to pick up both XP from that dropping slime, puts him just about right to level up on the way out with just the XP flower. And he's given us some hearts. Heart for you as well, Sparik. On the left, Elojimmini taking that time level up for himself, picking up a bunch of XP, and he'll be making his way back over to Blackroot Burrows with some optimized wall jumping.
Yep. Sparik again got his level up on the way up. He should be, yeah. I think he should be good on his XP. It's really difficult to set up your XP when you're doing genocide because depending on how many XP you have entering BRB, it can really affect your route. Because in BRB you can really adjust your amount of XP since there are not many slimes and every slime drops the same amount of health of HP, sorry, of XP, if I can.
Yeah, we'll see when he pulls up his save anywhere here, just how far away from that level up he is. Ideally, we're looking for something in the mid-teens. Looks like he's at 11, which is what he had last time, so we know he knows how to handle this particular XP count.
I think when you're doing genocide, usually you want to be in the 15 range, because it allows you to kill the first slime and level up on the second, so here he's going to level up and crouch to kill both the left slime and the third one.
Oh no, circling his mouse there, he missed the XP from that second slime. So he's going to have to make that up somewhere, but unfortunately, there aren't a lot of extra slimes that you can kill in this route. Elo getting beat up a little bit coming across these, lighting these lanterns across the spikes. Taking these, going for that reload again. Doesn't look like he was confident in making that quick cycle. And Sparik pausing just a moment on that second last lantern jump to avoid taking that same damage Elo did. Elo now, of course, at 1 needs to be really careful with these slimes and their shots, and that XP looked like it jumped in the wrong direction for what he may have wanted. I haven't seen him flash his UI recently, so I'm not exactly sure how far away he is. Oh, no, he's doing just fine on XP. Right where he wants to be.
Yeah, I think he got the XP from the drop-in slime. Usually when you do magnetless, you wanna just kill 2 slimes, so he had to dodge the third slime XP. Okay, and Sparik barely made the dash room cycle. Usually you have to make a quick pause in the previous room to manipulate this cycle. This one was like, I think, frame perfect.
Yeah, those manipulating the platforms in Blackroot is one of the few things that we can do to make it faster. Elojimmini with just a barely over 7-minute time at dash. That's very quick. Doing his blind movement, making his way out, no problems, no awkward falls down into Blackroot. He'll be going for his Frunky Walk.
Yeah, and actually doing the trick we call the dash stack delays when you get the dash pickup, so you actually Sparik saves a bit of time on the dash split compared to Elo, so it's really impressive to get that time.
And it looks like thanks to our friends in the truck, we have a 17-second separation of these 2 runners at dash. About 8 seconds of that will be from Sparik grabbing that 4th HP that Elo doesn't take. So Sparik keeping himself in this race very well.
Yeah, he will probably save a few seconds here if he manages to get the optimal cycle, the optimal Frunky Walk, as he did the previous race.
Yeah, even if it's not quite the perfect cycle, which he did get, Elo had to let the Frankie jump one more time just so that the XP would be close enough that he could grab it. So Elo getting that Grotto Cycle again, very nicely. And Sparik, ooh, taking a little bit of a hit on that Death Glide. Thankfully, he runs that he had that 4th HP, so he could afford to take that 1 damage. We'll see if he can match Elo on his Grotto Cycle coming up here in just a handful of seconds. He's going to dash to the right, climb this wall, dash, jump, and gets in. Very nice, Sparik, keeping that delta nice and close. Elo going for his blind movement off of double jump tree. See how far he manages to make it up. Already almost onto the left wall. Very, very nice double jump blind movement there. And a little bit of a high five from our runners. An update from our truck. Elo 6 seconds behind his PB at double jump. So Elo's having a great run. A little bit dicey movement there from Sparik. Manages to not die to that Frankie. Let's see how his blind movement goes.
And Elo with the clean Grotto skip again. Make it look like really easy. And Elo doing what we call ninja jumps. These are tricky jumps you can do when you have double jump, which saves almost nothing but looks really cool.
Yeah, it's on the order of maybe a couple of frames per jump if you're doing everything else right. But it looks cool, and a lot of our runners like to do it. Sparik, for his part, only about 9 seconds behind his PB at double jump tree, so keeping up the performance he needs to keep himself in this race. A little bit of a awkward jumps through here at the top of this rockfall area, but manages to recover just fine.
Yeah, everyone agrees that grotto walls are usually really difficult to interact with.
Ooh, Elo getting that fast cycle on those spinning spike arms. Those are that's a very tricky one to do, requiring very good movement, which of course we expect from someone of Elo's caliber. So he's going to be making it into the Ginso tree around 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Very good time.
And Sparik right behind him, getting his ability cell that he'll use later in the run. Really clean movement. He's going as well for the Swamp God cycle. Let's see if he gets it. Almost. Still a really good movement. Basically, if you know how to do it, you just attempt it, because it's faster anyway. Even if you don't get it, you get clean. If you get clean movements, you'll save time.
Yeah, it's one of those nice tricks that doesn't have a lot of risk associated with it.
It can be a bit spooky if you have 3 HP, because those spiny things can deal 2 damage. So if you take 2 damage and then you have to deboost through the slime, so Sparik has 4 HP, so he's fine. But for Elo, it might have been a bit spooky.
Elo just barely missing that fast 3 cycle on that first Ginso mini boss. Very nice fight. Looks like he only missed a shot or 2. So he'll be making his way to the dash tree. Sparik making his way to that first mini boss. And Elo just showing off some great movement. Definitely demonstrating a lot of mastery at this game. Making his way up to this area, dropping a save. He'll do a double bash there, lets him climb this area very quickly. Pick up some keystones. Put them in the door as he dies, so he gets them both in his inventory and in the world. And then he'll go and recollect them, so we can leave the Ginso tree with some extra keys. Nope, just barely missed that one. Nothing bad. Manages to get it, and he goes into this mini-boss as Sparik makes it to the dash tree.
Yeah, Hello also got what we call the hyper speed. It's a really cool trick. Basically, you save while during a dash animation, and as you respawn, so you can either do a ghost door, so you either die or reload. And then as you respawn, if you hold the direction you dashed in, you get that quick animation where you preserve the dash speed.
Yeah, a lot of our fast movement in this game just consists of finding ways to make the game forget to slow you down. Oh, Sparik having a little bit of trouble with this save setup. He was going for a save on the upper platform, but taking a hit from the projectile he was double bashing, decides to go for that lower platform setup that Elo used.
Yeah, usually here you really want to be at 3 HP before doing the key dupe, because it makes it easier to die for first to key dupe and second to do the ghost door. So even if he didn't get the save on the upper platform, he got his health setup.
Yeah, Elo making his attempt at swamp entry, getting it, no problems. Let's see if he can get this entry into the stomp tree area a little bit more cleanly than he did last time. And he gets it. Very nice. That's a tricky set of double bashes that saves, oh, something like 30 frames.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Just the style is worth it.
Now, if Elo keeps up on the pace that he's got right now, he's going to make it very difficult for Sparik to catch up to him. But Sparik's racing not just against Elo today. Sparik would also like to get a PB, and we've got a little bit of an update on that at the bash tree. Sparik was still very close, only 16 seconds behind his PB. So, if he's got any sort of late game time save, he could very much still be in the running to get that done.
Okay, that was a bit scary, because Sparik does a different setup. Basically, you have to do a blind movement during the laser's cutscene, and if you take some damage, you might not be able to do some deboost in the future. But he's fine. He got it second try.
Yeah, and Elo with an uncharacteristic second try Kuro cutscene skip. Ooh, and short death there, only losing a few seconds. But gets back into his tricky double bashes here. Again, this is keeping him from having to deal with a cutscene that will play in that area if he touches the ground at all. Both of our runners hitting trees one apart from each other here. Sparik making his way out of this stomp tree area. That stomp skill, of course, letting us move downward very rapidly. Just like dash lets us move to the side and later on upward very rapidly. A little bit of an update on Elo's quest to break the 27 wall. He's 34 seconds behind his PB at Charge Flame, so unfortunately probably not going to happen. There's not typically a lot of time for runners at that level to save into the late game. Sparik, after missing that swamp entry, about 49 seconds behind his BB. Let's see if he gets this Kuro cutscene skip. Yeah, he does. Excellent improvement over his last race. So now Elo's coming up on his fast Stompless. He got this first try last time. I don't expect him to have any trouble with it here either. Just some very clean bashing and dashing movement. Firing the projectile at a precise angle, and moving rapidly over to the right to despawn that wall. Bashing up, picking up the cell, and has enough time to almost start stomping down before the shot hit. Very good movement.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing. He got that cell. If you don't get it, it can be a bit rough because you, in the rut he's doing, he needs exactly 4 cells here, so he can level up C-Dash. If you don't have C-Dash, it makes Sorrow Bash really difficult. So if you miss that ability cell, you need to somehow find another one really quickly.
Yeah, there is a backup that Elo, I'm sure, knows about down at the bottom of Valley, but that's time that you really never want to lose to go and get. Elo making his way into and through Sorrow, making this crazy juggle look easy. Sparik working his way through Valley. Ooh, takes a little bit of a dip into the spikes, but that 4th health paying dividends there, not getting sent all the way back to the Spirit Tree. Decides to place a safety save, and gets set up for his fast Stompless. Elojimmini, for his part, making short work of that crazy juggle. Again, that's about a dozen inputs in a window of 2 to 3 frames, back to back to back. So, excellent demonstration of skill there. Sparik getting that fast Stompless. He'll be moving on to his Sorrow Bash very soon.
Yeah, people do crazy juggle. It's a lot more difficult than doing Terror Break, but it saves 8 seconds, so basically if you know how to do it, and if you know how to do it, it's because you had practiced it, and you want to save those 8 seconds, but it's really difficult.
Yep, Sparik making short work of his Sorrow Bash. Very nice work. Rocket jumping up Sorrow Pass. Rocket jumping again off this frog to get him to shoot a projectile high enough to break that. And then rocket jumping up Sorrow Pass again. We use rocket jumps a lot in Sorrow, don't we, Grease?
Yeah, that's a really cool trick, and since the area is really vertical, rocket jump gives you a ton of heights and a ton of speed. So in a few rocket jumps, you just clean the area within a minute.
Yeah, if you've played the game casually, you'll remember, doing things like coming into Sorrow Pass and going around the left side and picking up some keystones and blocking some lasers so you can stomp on these ceilings. And those are slow, so we like to do rocket jumps and frog manipulations and terror breaks instead, because those are fast. So Grease, I know a lot of runners will tell us that they really like Misty Woods. What's your opinion on the area?
Yeah, Misty Woods is one of the most fun area to practice, so usually people tend to practice it a lot more, so you usually see great movements in this area, even if you, no matter how fast you are, how many time you spent on the on the game, you'll always see cool stuff because you have all the skills, and it's really fun to practice again. So yeah, it's really enjoyable to see and play this area.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice little almost playground area near the end of the run when we've got, again, almost all of our movement abilities in our pockets. We've got charge dashes, we've got bashes, we've got rocket jumps, stomps, and the ability to make that mini-boss just evaporate. Sparik taking a little bit of a dip into the spikes there. Again, that 4 HP paying off for him. I believe his last save was as far back as the Sunstone, so saving quite a bit of time by just taking that little bit of safety.
And at the same time, Elo showed us that there is no Misty mini-boss.
Yeah, Sparik having a much better run than his previous one. I believe last time Elo was taking that teleport, Sparik was still working his way through the front part of Misty, so nice to see that he's managed to shake those nerves off and really clean up this second run for us.
Yeah, and we can see that he's still going for all the clean movements he knows. So that's really cool. Even if he knows he might have lost a bit of time over the run, he's still going strong.
Yeah, at Climb Tree he was about 50 seconds behind his PB, so probably not on a pace where he can get a new PB in this race, but anytime you're within a minute of your PB in a race environment, it's a good.
Okay, that was a bit spooky from Elo because usually if you miss that rocket jump, you're off cycle. There is a laser right above you, so if you take too much time to rocket jump, you can just hit the laser.
Yeah, and those lasers, doesn't matter how much health you have, those will kill you. And going all the way back to Grenade Tree from there, it's not nearly as large a time loss as you can get in some other parts of the run, but it just feels grosser sometimes. Elo picking up his 5th health cell. He ran almost the entire run with 3, picked up 2 in the last minute or so, and now he is on his way to Mount Horu. Of course, a lot of our runners will like to use all of their energy to go fast through here. Elo's going to do Warm Skip though, so he needs to save that energy. Grease, why? As Elo gets his door first try, nicely done. He's going to go up here, do his Warmth Skip. Unfortunately, this means that he won't get his energy back on when the cutscene plays. So, in addition to doing this blind movement, he'll have to go without that energy refill, so he'll have to save some from the Grenade Tree.
Yeah, so Elo is actually on a really good pace. I think he was he's actually has a better pace than the previous game. If he gets his grenade jump first try, I think it's a 28, which is an insane good time. Yep.
Yeah, and he does. That's that'll be a very nice time and very intimidating for whichever of his next opponents he ends up getting.
And at the same time, Sparik not far behind, heading up to Horu. Still skipping the potential 6 cell.
Yeah, he's confident with that final escape swim. He's not worried about only having 5 health for it.
That's not a PB base for Sparik, but I think it's still a really good time. He's still on the mid-30 base. So yeah, even if he already know he's lost, he's probably happy with that base.
Yeah, it looks like he managed to pick up a little bit of time there, even coming out of Misty Woods. He was only 50 seconds behind at Grenade. So, doing well to keep himself in that close to less than a minute behind. Elo's timer, for whatever reason, hasn't stopped, but we know he won the race, so, and he wasn't going to PB, so that's the important part. Looks like we're looking at about a 28:43-ish for Elo's time there, so very, very solid time for him to put up as Sparik finishes out his final escape, going for this poison swim. Gets out of the water, charge jumps up, doesn't spawn Kuro in this last room, gets onto the wall, lines up his grenade jump. Oh, a little bit off on those inputs. It is a 1 frame input, throwing a grenade, then 1 frame later, jumping, and he gets through. So that should be still a 30, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close. It's either really high 30 or a really low 31. Still a really good time.
All right, yeah, with a 30:59. Very nicely done for Sparik.
Yes, GG Sparik.
It looks like both of our runners are waiting for us here, so we'll get them in for some interviews. Elo, Sparik, GG to both of you. And Elo, congratulations on continuing to the round of 8. How do you feel about that race? Looks like we might be having a little bit of an audio issue here. Sorry about that.
Aha! Mute is a powerful thing.
That it is. Welcome, Elojimmini. How do you feel about that race?
Yeah, it went really, really well. I was streaming a little earlier, trying to get a PB, and I was on PB pace quite a lot, and it kind of just transitioned into these races, so as you saw, it went well.
That it did. Low 29 and a mid 28 are definitely something that Lurking Assassin or Lusther, whichever of them win, will be looking at and maybe feeling a little bit intimidated. Sparik, you came into this definitely the underdog. Said that you didn't really expect to win, but that you wanted to give us some good runs. How do you feel those went for you?
Yeah, I got destroyed pretty much as expected. I mean, there's really nothing to say about the first run other than the start was pretty unfortunate, and to be fair, I was a little bit tilted after that, maybe. But yeah, the second run, like 1 minute off PB, so that's a race one that I would be happy with. And in my heart, the first run was around the time too.
Yeah, and especially that first run, recovering from those early deaths in Glades, and still managing to keep yourself about 2 minutes behind your PB was really, really good. Elo, I'm going to throw this back to you. Looking forward to that next match, Lurking Assassin versus Lester. Of course, we won't find out which of those you'll be facing until Sunday. Do you have either of those that you'd like to race, or that you think you will be racing?
Lurking Assassin's obviously got the upper hand in the situation. He's got the higher seed and a better PB. I would really like to face him. He's kind of the new blood of the Ori speedrunning community that's just rising up and up to the top, so it'll be nice to face off against him. He's quite consistent and he's got a really good time, so it should be a good match if he gets through against Luster.
Yeah, that's very true. I will have a question for Sparik. Like, during going back to the first race, after you got the Wrath early game, how did you feel like? What was your mindset? Because actually, after those 2 deaths, you did really well and you caught up.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that maybe I wasn't as nervous as before I got those deaths, but it was pretty much the opposite. Because I was like, don't mess up anything else now. Seems to have worked out fine, apart from the Kuro cutscene skip that I finally got in my last run at least, so people know that I know how to do that. But yeah, apart from that, I'm basically just... I gave it my all, and it wasn't enough, and I'm definitely glad that Elo had such good runs, so I can safely say it didn't really matter that I messed up the first run like that. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the outcome overall, actually.
That's very good to hear. It's always nice when you can go into a race and even when you lose, be able to say, you know, I gave it everything I had, and even though it wasn't quite enough, I wasn't expecting to win, but I'm happy with how I did.
Yeah, so I would have a question for you, Elo. After your last race, you said that you usually adapt your gameplay depending on how you feel during the run. Did you adapt your gameplay at any point today?
Not really. I felt pretty good throughout the run. There was in the first race, I missed a double bash on the not the Misty mini boss, the Ginso turret boss, and I missed his experience, which meant I had to adapt to that. So I got the 100 just near the stomp tree, and after that it was fine because you don't have to worry about your experience, but I had to kind of just go on the fly which experience was really quick to grab and which would not be too detrimental to my run. And I didn't really know where Sparik was either because I wasn't watching the stream, so yeah, I was slightly worried, but I was on quite a good pace, so it didn't feel too bad.
Yeah, there was no way that I would pull off a low 29 spontaneously.
I didn't have my splits up, so I have no idea what my times are when I get to certain splits.
Regardless, that was an excellent adaptation from you. Noticing that you were a little bit low on XP and having the wherewithal to grab that experience, and then realizing that you needed to even duck to pan the camera down to not kill the mortar worm the second time. It's always really nice to see those kinds of things come out, even in a category like All Skills.
Gotta have those backup strats.
All right, well, thank you all for watching. Elo and Sparik, thank you for joining us. Our next race in this tournament will be games 1 and 2 of Uncle Ronnie versus Hydra on Wednesday, February 27th at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard. So that'll be a great one. We will be finding out just which one of those excellent runners will come out ahead. So thank you for joining us. I'm Jay Halcyon. I was joined on commentary by Grease.
Thank you, Halcyon, for joining me.
Thanks also to our restreamer Tara and to our excellent friends Uncle Ronnie and Skull Blocka in the truck feeding us all these delicious stats. Have a good day.